Hello, hello, and welcome to day 15. My name is Tammy Davis. I'm your mentor and guide during these 30 days of essential oils, as well as your neighborhood alchemist. If you haven't already, I do have another series called 31 Days of Essential Oils, and so we're just kind of picking away at the countless. We have a lot of them. There's a lot of oils, and so I'm just first 31 days. They're all different. And then I started writing blogs about those as a follow-up and to kind of get a little bit more detailed with regards to their chemistry and so forth and how they work in the system and providing a little bit different information than what I do here. I don't get into a lot here. This is primarily how I've used oils or these particular oils and when pardon me, how I see them benefiting individuals. And I also raise a lot of red flags because let's face it, oils are chemicals, just like, personal care products and environmental chemicals. I mean, chemicals, it's not, a chemical isn't a good or a bad thing. It's just a means of communication. And what I mean by that is that's really how nature communicates. And they are what I would refer to as signaling molecules because they have the ability to activate genetic activity. This is also known as lipophilic chemicals. There are some hydrophilic chemicals. Those two words mean, lipophilic means kind of drawn towards oils, fat, and so forth. That's what G-coupled protein receptors require. Or they are picked up into the oil takes them, or the oil of our body, fats in the body actually help to transport these chemicals through various channels for use by the body. Hydrophilic, on the other hand, has the tendency to be drawn more towards water, and it'll mix very well with water. So that's the reason why when you use an essential oil, if you're going to put it in a carrier, you mix it with an oil, a vegetable oil, because that'll actually assist the transportation of the chemical. They don't mix well with water. So that's how you know it's lipophilic. And that's how the G-coupled protein receptors work. So that would be your olfactory system or olfactory receptors. That would be your endocannabinoid system as well as your endogenous opiate system and so forth. So that's what a lot of our genetic receptors require are lipophilic chemicals. Lipophilic chemicals also cross the blood-brain barrier, which is the reason why things become potentially dangerous given the fact that we have scores of man-made lipophilic chemicals. So that's enough science there. For those of you who just tuned in and starting to watch these, thank you very much for taking your time to view this. I appreciate you being here. Consider subscribing, sharing, commenting, making requests, and so forth. If you've been with me for a while, please know how much I do appreciate your presence. It means a lot to share this journey with you. So I'm not going to get into any more about me. If you have questions about who I am and why I'm saying what I'm saying, please by all means ask. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about cinnamon bark. There's a difference between cinnamon leaf and cinnamon bark. They just obviously come from different parts of the plant. Cinnamon bark happens to be very high in cinnamaldehyde as well as eugenol. It's exceptionally good as an antimicrobial. It works well with bacteria and fungus, candida, which I've used it extensively for. It happens to have the potential to be a very, very calming oil because of it does have linalool in it. So there's a tendency, and besides that, it also helps with the metabolism of histamine. Now, the thing is that it's also a very hot oil, and so and as I've talked about with other oils, this one you want to use with a little bit of caution as far as how you administer it or when you administer it, meaning start off with low doses of it because it could have the exact opposite effect. It's interesting to me, it's through the experimentation of our development process, I should say, development period of working on some natural herbal calming treats for dogs, as I was put in a position recently to take care of, my life just kind of all of a sudden became involved around dogs and high anxiety and stress in their area. And so as a result, I ended up creating this product or these treats, and I've decided I'm going to try and launch them. But the point of that is that when you're working with different herbals, it's not just because they're natural makes them safe, whether you're with human or with dogs. And what I do recognize is if we do too much of anything, it can have the exact opposite effect. And I noticed that even with the dogs. I have one dog, you just saw her walk in the door. She will eat as much of everything that she possibly can. So if I don't monitor her, she can get too much. And she did. She got too much of the treat one day. And it caused, instead of calming her, it actually created a higher level of anxiety. So I say that because the cinnamon bark can actually have the same effect on your system. So please use caution with this. Like I said, start off with smaller amounts, keeping in mind that less is definitely more. It is also very good, as I mentioned, as an antimicrobial. So if you do have a bacterial or a fungal infection going on, it does very well when blended with other oils for that purpose and helping to eradicate. It supports the immune system extensively. As I mentioned, it does help with the metabolism of histamine. Now, the metabolism of histamine happens at the NADH cycle in the body, which is the fermentation, the glycolytic cycle. Now, that's if you have blood sugar issues or you have histamine issues, you more than likely have an imbalance, an instability. I mean, there's been shifts that have occurred at that level, and cinnamon bark can absolutely help with that. However, there's going to be other issues that are going on that would have also triggered that. So in this case, it does benefit to a degree the nitric oxide synthase, because NADH and NOS actually interact with one another, but it's primarily at the NADH process, the glycolytic cycle, that this is very, very beneficial. So it not only eradicates or helps to eliminate or deactivate the microbes. I do know that it's sometimes suggested for viruses. I've never used cinnamon bark for a virus. I primarily focus my attention on bacteria and fungus with this. And fungus, or candida yeast, if you will, increases in the presence of histamine. So, and the innate immune system it's an intriguing component because it's got your natural killer cells, it's got your macrophages, and it also increases histamine. So there's variations in this, and using cinnamon bark, like I said, combined with possibly something like magnesium, believe it or not, will help to de-escalate the immune reaction. I get it. If you have an infection, you want support from the immune system, and it will do that, but it does it through a stabilization process as opposed to it's stimulating. It's not an immune stimulant, is what I'm trying to say. And that, for that reason, I really like cinnamon bark, because it works with the immune system. It supports the immune system. And as I mentioned, if you mix it with something like benzoin and magnesium, being very careful to use carrier oils, because both of those oils will be irritants to the skin. But if you use a carrier and those two oils and combine it with magnesium, which you can get as a gel, I'll link in the description box. You can check out that one in particular, because it's easily absorbed into the body and it works hand in hand, and it really helps to calm that that immune reaction down, so that it can, especially in the case of like if you actually have a histamine intolerance. That would be the recommendation for that. The other thing I wanted to caution people on with this particular one is, because of the eugenol content, it's not recommended for anybody who's taking any kind of blood thinners, or who has or is living with hemophilia. It is a blood thinning oil, so no, don't use it for those reasons right there. And if you have liver issues, you might want to not use it as well. Again, NADH actually, the fermentation process does occur through the liver. So, but if it's gone so far that you actually have liver challenges, then cinnamon bark is probably too aggressive to begin with. So this would be something that would, if you're in the kind of having, like I said, early stages of blood sugar issues, early stages of, or you're having histamine issues, but you haven't been diagnosed with a liver problem just yet, then cinnamon bark would be a really great option for you. So let me know if you have any questions. Just know how much I appreciate you. Consider signing up for my newsletter. That link is in the description box below, as well as joining my Facebook group, Aromatherapy is a Lifestyle. And by all means, let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for oils you'd like to hear about. Thanks again. You guys take care.